Broc Glover here in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, and we're getting ready for round 14 of the Monster AMA Supercross Championship, round 8 of the 250 West, and round 7 of the 250 East. And the reason we have them both is because it's our first showdown. And I have co-host Brandon Haas from Club MX with me today, but he's not right next to me because he's over there. Brandon, what are you doing over there?
I'm getting ready to come up the inside on you, Broc.
I'm going to sweep on the outside here because this is a split start right here. And as we head down and look at this track, first thing we're going to notice is I got dust on my pants and I'm not slopping through any mud right now. Even though we've had some weather and a little bit of rain, we're not faced with any mud, and the weather forecast looks great.
Yep, we finally got a dry track, and I'm excited to see this split start. We had one in SMX in Charlotte, and I thought that was very unique. But here we are kicking around dust.
Yep, they're going to be working the water truck. You can see that'll be happening in our background. But the cool thing about this split start that I've never seen before that I can recall, there's a big jump, 3 foot high, but all the way across, right in the middle, right in front of what we used to call the doghouse. So that's going to be interesting right there. Coming out of the corner, we'll talk about it later when we get over there. But yeah, they're going to be either doubling out of the corner or they're going to hit it single and double into the corner there. So it's a very interesting layout here.
Yeah, I like it when they're being creative and trying new things, but split starts are unique. You got guys that like sweeping into the outside with speed, and you got guys that like protecting the inside. And I think with the showdown combining all the talent in 250 class, this whole shot's going to be interesting to see which one pans out the best.
Yep, now I can feel some of this wet dirt sticking to the bottom of my feet. But Brandon, let's talk about yourself and Club MX. As people have tuned in this year, they've noticed this year's theme has been pretty much team managers and staff that have used to be good racers or used to be pro racers, and now converted and transferred all their energies and their knowledge over into being team members and in coaches, training, and again, team managers. Yourself, you rode some pro races back in 2007 and 8 and 10, and you're from the Rochester, Minnesota area, so not far. So obviously Spring Creek and Millville was your home track, right?
Yep, Millville was my home track, the Martin boys. It's kind of a little bit surreal having Jeremy and Alex in prior years ride for us because I grew up idolizing them. And that facility really just set the standard of my impressions of what a pro national or the almighty of a facility should be. Very blessed to grow up right down the road from Millville.
And you dabbled at the AMA Pro scene, and we've talked in the past because I've been to Club MX a few times, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But you as a privateer, you tell me about stories. Literally, you worked on your own bike, you drove your own, you were by yourself, and at times when you didn't have money for a hotel, you literally pulled over in a rest area and slept on a picnic bench?
Yeah, Freestone National, I think I went 25-25, and full heat stroke, cramp, and I remember it was too hot to sleep in my van, so I pulled over in a rest area and I put my blanket on the top of a picnic table and I just lay there and my calves started cramping. And my racing was nothing to fantasize about, but it was enough for me to understand what these guys are going through and relate, in different areas. So very grateful for it, but just sort of slowly paved the way for what's now. At that time I didn't know. I wish I could go back and do things better, but.
So the name Club MX, tell us how this started. You told it was kind of almost an after school, pick up some kids and let them go ride and train with them, and tell us about it.
Yeah, so I graduated high school and had to get a job, started pouring concrete. Realized quickly I didn't like to do that. I wish I could be around dirt bikes. So actually, Jesse Wentland, one of your guys, Dunlop test rider, done a great job, was one of the OGs of Club MX. But guys like him, I'd go around and pick kids up from school, or from their house when school was out in the summertime, and I would take them to the tracks, we'd go ride, and I would take them home at the end of the day. And it was just to relieve mom and dad of their duties. And I had this moto daycare idea in my head. I was going to get a school bus and round all these kids up.
Moto daycare, I like that,
So one thing led to a next, and then I realized I can't have fold-out lawn chairs and cargo vans, and I can't do that anymore. And started going to different tracks, doing camps, and taking the guys for the week, and then it just slowly morphed into what it is now. Not a master plan, anything like that,
But Minnesota to Chesterfield, South Carolina, there's a gap there. So you told me earlier that you had trouble with the county shutting you down at different places to ride. You also are a very good track builder yourself, so you traded your skills with a tractor local tracks around in Minnesota, and when you worked on their tracks, then they would allow you to ride there with your group of Club MX riders. So then that all ended up having to fight some of the county regulations and things. Then you all of a sudden go down to South Carolina, you meet a guy named Zach Osborne, who we all know, national champion, many-time rider, who had a facility, and tell us about that.
Yeah, I went to build Zach a Supercross track, and actually Jesse and Zach Williams, Henry Miller, some Minnesota kids were with me at that time, and just kind of, told Zach, I had just actually got kicked out of the track we were using as what was then known as Club MX practice facility. And yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for the lessons. I got actually shut down 3 times trying to start Club MX, but each one of those required me to learn how to do track work more thoroughly, do it again. I learned from this time that, this wasn't very good. So actually, going back, it created the path to what is now Club. But I met Zach, I planted the seed with him. Someday I want to have my own training facility so I don't have to go drive all these places with all these kids living in campers. And he was immediately interested, and he owned the property Club sits on right now, and that's how we got started.
Well, that's pretty incredible story. So this track here, we've got 300+ foot long start into a wide sweeping corner. We've seen similar tracks like this in starts this year. We've seen a couple of them more recently, but into the wide sweeping flat corner into 2 lanes. You skip the first lane and go around the second lane here. It really does give a fair start with that split start here. Outside or inside, I think your riders have a great chance.
It does, and I think with this we're splitting a couple lanes here. I think you're going to see some drifting out wide and maybe some inside opportunities left open, but this is very interesting too, going into basically a full rhythm section right out of this forced corner. This is immediately abrupt, so this is going to be a vocal point of the track. Who can execute this opening rhythm on the start and separate from the pack? Yeah,
you'll definitely be able to gap yourself if you're able to set yourself up to do the rhythm section properly. And again, we've seen a lot of the tracks where they go from the 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot rhythm section. I mean, last week it was unbelievable. I was watching Jet Lawrence jump that triple out of the corner, going to a 3, and he's clearing a 5. But these are all about the same. I want to call these look about 3.5 to 4, right? Same height all the way through right here. So we have 6 in a row.
I would call these like hybrids. These are kind of like 4-footers, but you're right.
Tough ones. And
unique.
Pocket and the ground's pretty firm again. We're certainly hoping that the track will not be one of the ruddy ones. We talked earlier before we started this and how you were saying the same thing. It'd be nice to see a track that just wasn't full of ruts. These guys have really had to battle the elements. The nice thing here at the Nissan Stadium, they built this stadium, and it's one of the original old concrete stadiums, and now they're coming out with a brand new one. Right next door where all the pits were the previous year, they're building a new $2.1 billion domed stadium. So yes, we're gonna have a dome here eventually. I don't think it's gonna open until 2020, I think 2027, but still, we're looking forward to, because Nashville is becoming one of the favorite stops from all the riders.
It is a favorite stop, no doubt about that. The Southeast is always great, but I think Nashville, with the environment and the life and the ability just to go right across the bridge to downtown, is pretty unique.
Yeah, it's a lot of music, a lot of bars.
The teams travel, and we're in the middle of all these cities, and this is one where you get to go walk around and enjoy it.
Yeah, a lot of the staff brings their wives and girlfriends and because they really do. It's a great town.
Great town,
they're building that new stadium for sure with the target of having Super Bowls, Final Fours, college playoff games. So, Supercross will benefit after all that. So, coming into this corner, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC corner here, full 180 right off the bat. So you go big sweeping first corner, second corner here, 180, and into another kind of what, for these guys are basic as you come into just a simple double into the triple after that. So I don't think this is too difficult of a section. This other rhythm section of 6, who knows, we'll see maybe 3 and 3 or 1, 2, 3, well, who knows? We'll see what the rhythm section there is. But
judging by that dirt, it's gonna be crusty on top, but there's some soft spots. You can see the equipment impressions where it's sunk down into the dirt, and I think they did a pretty quick build trying to get this track covered up for the rain, and they did a great job. As always, the Dirtworks crew is incredible with what they're able to pull off. But even these kind of spongy impressions of the equipment goes to show that there's some moisture underneath the dry dirt. So time will tell. But
yeah, so after you got done racing, personally, you won the Loretta Lynn's title, and 20, was it the 30 class or 25 plus? I'm sorry.
30 plus.
30 plus class, and you went 1-1-1.
I think 1-2-1 or 1-1-2.
I thought you won all 3 motos. I was giving you credit for winning all 3.
I think 1-1-2, but I don't remember.
Okay, so regardless, having a lot of success, and that was pretty cool for you to be able to kind of come back after riding with all your guys, your Jeremy Martins, or different people at Club MX, and then go, okay, I'm going to start riding again. And I remember Justin Brayton used to practice a lot at your place, and you told me that there's been a little sighting recently where he's been riding a little bit again, huh?
Yeah, JB's been one of the OGs at Club as well, but he got the itch to ride again, and he's been back, starting to get back in the motocross groove, trying to keep the body in shape. But Loretta's was a pretty incredible experience. I went there just with the intentions of I just want to have fun racing and kind of do that. But see here, they took the double out of this.
They took the triple out of the middle one.
This was a rain prep.
Yeah. So this was originally in their mind. The forecast was much worse than ended up happening, which is great news for all of us. But they took the double out of the middle, or the triple out of the middle, the single jump in the middle, and now you just got a big double, same distance. And it's a great job here. So your team, what decided that you needed a team as we land here? We're going to go into a sand section. And a lot of the sand sections that we've had have been left-handers, but this is a right-hander, so it makes it a little bit trickier here. So you got to in and out, big sweeping, less rollers, bigger rollers on the inside, but these guys nowadays, I don't even think it seems to slow them down. They hit it and jump. And
this is a little more unique sand because if you look at it, this is actually a really long corner. Yeah. Normally we have more of a traditional 180 or just that brief moment of straight.
And so coming through this sand section right here, it always catches me surprised when they do that. They tell me all the pyrotechnics have already been done, everything's been done in the pre-show, and then they, you never know when the national anthem singer is going to show. So it's always, as mentioned, love to hear it. If people have the patience to sit through it, no problem, man. So looking at the track, a little shorter than last year here, but you look at last year and you think about, I always talk about the history of a venue. Nashville doesn't have a whole lot of history. It's a brief moment there because you have two Supercrosses that have happened here back in 2019, and then you had one last year here. So kind of a little funny part about the history, I was looking back, that they've been manufacturer sweeps each of the 2 races. The first one, back when 2019, Tomac won on a Kawasaki and Martin Davalos won on a 250. Wow. Then last year, it was a Chase Sexton Honda, Hunter Lawrence Honda sweep. So manufacturers there. The one thing that happened here last year that our new championship tied for the points lead, Cooper Webb probably would like to forget, is that he had a little get off in the heat race and he never made the main event. People don't realize he was in second place in the championship behind Eli Tomac. And I think he was only 10 or 11 points back or something. It wasn't very many. And he was definitely in the championship hunt. And then to have himself get hurt, and then Chase Sexton was in third in the championship, ended up being our eventual champion last year. So you wonder, Cooper Webb, you think about, at Dallas, he's always had so much success. And you think about, as an ex-rider, you always felt comfortable, I'm sure, at a certain track. I know I did. And then you get to something like this, and Cooper has that bad memory from here last year. What does it take mentally to be able to erase that?
Yeah, and that's interesting because you take somebody like Cooper Webb that's coming in here maybe with a little sour taste, but now you also got a Cooper Webb that
got a lot of momentum.
Is one guy I don't want to go down to the wire with, to be honest with you. That's a guy that he finds ways to get it done. And
he does,
this, I think that you're going to see a lot tomorrow play out on what this championship is going to hold, and Nashville could be a complete opposite for Cooper Webb. Time will tell, but Nashville's setting up to be great.
So coming out of that sand corner here, now we're going the opposite direction on the starting line here. Kind of a unique layout. Yep. And then we're going to go into a real tight corner here. But depending on how you get out of that corner, the entrance here, and I'll have Derek turn around for the camera to see from the rider's point of view here, that entrance to that corner is tight. And you wonder if they're going to pull that Super Motocross corner marker, if they're going to play with it during the race to see what it's going to take to make this corner layout how they want it, because man, you could get some real stuff jobs here.
Yeah, and
a lot of passing.
I think they will play with this because the way it is right now, I don't think you could even get to the beginning of this jump. But this will be interesting because this is also a unique rhythm section leading up to a finish line that we don't always see. The options like a mini rhythm leading into a finish line.
Yep, you got a 3-foot tabletop. So as you mentioned, that's not a common layout or setup here, a combination before you go to a finish line jump here. So
I think you'll see inside roll on off, or maybe outside double table over single. And I don't think the 3 on is there with how tight this is out of the corner, but these 450s nowadays with some Dunlop traction, you never know.
You never know.
They jump stuff you don't ever expect to be jumped.
Even the 250 guys. So let's talk about that 250 class. Your riders this year, you've got Garrett Marchbank on one coast, and then you have a Cody Schock on the other coast, and you're sitting in 4th and 5th place in the championships. And you guys are, you know, as much as you have that semi and you have some help from Yamaha a little bit, you guys are really a true privateer team.
We are a true privateer team. To have both guys, guy in the top 5 on both coasts is something an opportunity we've been looking for a while, but no doubt about it, we're a production-based operation. Yamaha, we're blessed to have them. They help us more than we're grateful for, but we do have our own engines, our own suspension. We don't get factory parts or any of that. We just figure it out and do the best we can, and every year try to get a little better.
Well, speaking of getting a little better, how many tracks do you guys have now at Club MX? Last I was running out of fingers. How many do you have at the track?
10 tracks, 4 Supercross, 4 motocross, 2 corner tracks, all are unique soils. We have 2 clay pits on the property that we mine out of, so we can blend the soils to configure what we see throughout the year. And every season we go through a Supercross, we're chasing this replication. We're chasing what Dirtworks does, how they blend the soil. Same with outdoors. You got the Redbuds, the Millvilles, the Southwicks, and then you got the Paulas, the Hangtowns. So we try to create the soil.
That's the blessing and the curse of being a track builder yourself. You're always trying to look for that perfection there. So coming out of the corner, we talked about, we've got 2, a table, and then an on. So no question you're going to want to somehow get off of this table. Nobody's going to want to land on the downside of this that I'm thinking and jump into the face of the finish line jump. You're going to have to get on this table and clean this next 3-footer, 2.5, 3-footer. It's pretty, knocked my mic off. It's a pretty mellow landing. They're trying to, you know, obviously keep it safe. But boy, this is interesting. If you clip this, you don't get a very good run. It's not going to be what you want to do. And now we're slopping around in some water. They've certainly put a lot of water on this.
They're putting some water down, that's for sure.
So I don't know if we're going to try to go up this or not.
You better get a run at it.
You better get a run at it is right. I don't know. Good luck, Derek. You want a hand? Got it? Good job. There we go. So nice bird's eye view here.
Proper finish line.
Yeah, proper finish line. Just kind of the normal, just the normal one we always see.
Got to carry your momentum to make it up the hills.
Exactly. So some of this dirt right here you do see. It's, I mean, you're more of a dirtologist than I am probably, but kind of some clay mixed in with a little bit of chunks here and there. You see the tread marks of the tractors.
Typically when you see these chunks, that's a product of going fast, trying to get the track covered up, and they haven't. I think what happens when you see tracks like this is we start off qualifying, and as the day goes on, the track continues to get faster, 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 because every time they rebuild it, it really starts to set in. Even these bull corners, you see the dozer track impressions. They didn't quite have the opportunity to track the whole corner in.
Right.
But
well, they'll do that, I'm sure, tomorrow, no question about it.
This finish line's an interesting section, though, because with that rhythm into a finish line in a big bull corner, this is going to be a great passing opportunity to set up, to make an inside run to take this option away.
Come on inside, take the corner line away. Coming out of a small, that was, like I said, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I want to talk about it up here, but last week, coming out of one of the corners, when Jet Lawrence started tripling what was a 3-4-5 combo, and he was doing it with less than like 20 feet of run. It was unbelievable, and he was clearing a 5-footer. It was like, if you missed, it was catastrophic for sure.
And those 450s.
Oh my gosh! So,
sometimes when you can round that corner, and a lot of times you guys don't understand, but they'll come out in first gear, and that's a 450. I mean, that's crazy power.
They have all.
But if they can go 3 in right here, this is going to be an interesting rhythm.
Right there, if you can come out of that corner and get on this elevated 3, and it's not that steep right here, so the pitch isn't so bad, but I'm not sure
But this is a bit of a step up.
Yeah, onto the table. Yeah. So if you go 2 onto the table, then you're going to want to do the single afterwards. But got a little bit of a knoll on the right-hand side of that table to give a little lift. But wow.
And
so
again,
250,
you can see the
250 class showdown coming into this championship. Pro Circuit's kind of got themselves back on top again. They've got Levi Kitchen leading 1 championship. Cameron McAdoo with 1 win, but a whole bunch of seconds leading the other.
Yeah.
Hayden Deegan comes off of a really nice ride, very dominating ride last week in Foxborough.
Yeah.
The championship starting to get a little closer. Tom Vial's been pretty consistent, staying in there.
Yeah.
And now this is the real first opportunity that a guy like Hayden Deegan has. I think he's 15 or 16 back, to be able to use some of the West Coast guys. If he could win and have a couple of West Coast guys help him out,
shake it up.
That could really help him a lot.
Yep, and I think when you see the showdown, you're going to see championship guys start up front and hope that they can put some buffers in between them to gap points. But it's going to be challenging for the guys that are mid-pack starters to come through the pack. Yeah, just because of the depth of the field that we're talking about. We got a lot of good guys in this 250 class.
Yeah, and this is the one we've all been kind of waiting for, because you know how you have 4 or 5, 6 guys in the 250 West and 4 or 5, 6 guys in the East. Now they're all together. So if you get a bad start and you're sitting back in 12th and you look up ahead of you, it's the who's on the 250.
Some good guys,
Yeah, it's a tough one. So coming on there, if they step off on the single, they're going to be landing on this and then doing probably triple, small 3-footer and into the corner, or you know, it just depends. We'll see. We've seen that when the past races, when the tracks have been getting more rutted up, guys are going off rhythm a lot more, trying to get a clean line.
And even though it's being watered and it feels hard packed to us, I do think this is still going to rut up. Yeah, it's soft underneath.
All right, you're the man, you know. So here we go. Here's the section right here. When I first saw this is coming right across. And I thought, boy, what are they planning to do here? You got about 60 feet between jumps. So the first one's I paced it off, it's about 1 pace, so about 3 feet, a little bit further than the second one. So I know they want them to do something here. They want them to either double, single, or single, double. But you know, when I first saw it, I didn't think they had enough run. Now I know they have enough run. Yeah, you see them right here.
They'll boost this baby right out. Yeah, I think if it's me, I'm kind of feeling like you carry the momentum in, you go double, and then you carry that single into the bull corner. But we'll see how this shapes up, because this can run up to the point where if they can't get this double, then they'll start gravitating inside, roll, and then
roll,
double.
and then now if you roll here, you're coming across the starting line. This is about as level and flat as the Supercross track section you're going to have. This is a pretty simple run across here into that jump there.
It is, yeah.
The pitch of the jumps looks pretty steep.
It's pretty steep, yeah.
It is, so it's going to throw them up high, and I think that's what they're looking for. So visually, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, because the riders are going to be high. They're going to be pretty much above all the scaffolding and all the starting line area. So this is going to be pretty cool visually to watch.
This will be cool. I like the section. I like the split start. I like the creativeness that they're playing around with some new ways of going racing.
You got it. So we can see all the behind the scenes activity happening right now. You got some of the officials over there. You've got some people that have bought VIP programs over here doing their track walk. I noticed Joe Shimoda was leading one of the groups of VIPs over here. So kind of a neat thing. You can, you know,
they get to experience it all.
Yeah, you can tailor your experience however you want to do it, and got a lot of options that the fellow people are offering here. So
this will be another interesting section coming across this start, and how they negotiate this wall. You got a big bull corner after kind of a high-speed double. Will they cut it down? Will they swing it wide?
So coming into here, Landon, let's say you do the double right out of the corner. You're coming into here pretty fast. What do you do? Do you brake real hard? Because you've got a wall jump immediately after this. Last time I saw that wall jump kind of had the same feel to it was at Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that towards the end of the Triple Crown there, Jet Lawrence was jumping into the whoops, and it was definitely much quicker. But here, they've kind of learned from the last time, when you have it all even across, the left side gets to be the line of choice, and then it makes more one line. So what did they do here? They made it harder to get to that inside, but once you get there, you get rewarded with a much less kick of a jump.
That's right,
And then you've got your full, this is just a complete wall there.
Big wall. Probably hard to understand that on video, but that is straight up and down.
Yeah, this thing is basically straight up and down.
This will be a hit on the bike.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also it's physically taxing when you're hitting walls like that.
It's a lot of energy.
Yeah, a lot of energy. So immediately after this, Derek, you can see where Brandon and I are standing up on top. So you've got this lower level, so no question they can clear that onto that. But if you hit this thing hard enough, it's the gap is narrower over here, so you're going to be higher in land, but then you've got a single, and then you go into a fairly good sized set of whoops. And from here, this is our first time walking through them, but they look a little steeper, a little tougher than the previous races that we've had, you know, with the whoops.
So this will be a give and take. You can get the reward early by going double single, but then you don't carry that speed into the whoops, or you can go single double, grab your shift, and carry that speed in. So this could be a cat and mouse option, and maybe some guys that are good at jumping whoops, they might prefer to go double and then jump into the whoops and carry that rhythm. Guys that like skimming will probably hang back and then build that speed up.
Very good. Well, are we battling lurch there, I think, on the mic? That's going to be a hard one. So coming into here, again, you're either going to land, you know, if you jump the first one, I don't know that we're going to see anybody jump all three. Do you think that wall?
I don't think so. I think that's too steep. Yeah.
So if you clear two and you hit that, you can single right into the base of this. And then at that point, because you're hitting so firmly into the bottom of this, you're probably going to kind of go up high, which makes skimming harder. You might start jumping. So we're going to probably see some skimming and some jumping, and just like we have in the past. And
judging by this dirt, these whoops will pack down and kind of get that hard base where I think you're going to see skimming and jumping tomorrow night.
Oh, good.
Which I think is great. I don't think it's that great when it's just jumping or just skimming. That combination, it's hard to get that obviously, but the trick to this also, we don't see this very often, is a flat corner after a set of whoops.
Yeah,
so again,
so
for
coming
guys
out of here,
that's
if
tricky.
you turn around, Derek, there, when we're looking out here as a rider, you're coming into this, and the whoops go straight into a flat corner, which is your first, the first corner of the racetrack, and it really doesn't set up. It doesn't allow for much of pre-turning, so you're going to have to back off, slow down, and get your bike turned before you get on that tight corner, because you don't want to go flying out towards those monster tough blocks.
The trick for the riders is going to be decelling with still 3 or 4 whoops left to go. Yeah. So that's where you're going to see some guys figure out how to fall into a whoop and possibly rhythm out to grab this. You're going to see some guys get kicked and they're going to go all the way out, or you're going to see a jump line where they can execute and tuck a tight line. But this will be a challenge for good skimmers to decel and then try to hook that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of like this.
Yeah, this is it's a nice layout. Track looks good, firm track. Yeah. Soil looks fairly good. Weather report looks promising. So I'm looking forward to a super day of racing. And again, the showdown is just what fans of the sport, you have to love watching the showdown and to see the race.
And even for us coming racing, we're looking forward to it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, remember, we got to love moto, stop cancer. So look for some of these St. Jude's, as we're hearing right here from Dab Hubbard. So we did a visit yesterday with Ryan Dungy and some of the other riders. Went down to St. Jude's over in Memphis. It was very moving, and it's a great, I think this is our 7th year of Supercross supporting the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So amazing organization, no question about it. So if you get a chance to bid on any of these prizes and everything, it's very good. So we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you for tuning in, and Brandon, thank you very much for giving the co-host and your expertise. And we all wish the Club MX guys a lot of success. And you've got your vets and your rookies and your younger guys over there. So good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Watch for a lot of passing there. If you win the race, you light the candles.